Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of The Jake Whitworth Show. Today's guest is Gareth Shortland. Gareth is a well known remixer and producer who's worked with some big names in pop that you'll know, and is always known for his high energy remixes. Thank you for joining me today, Gareth. How are you?
My pleasure. I'm very well indeed, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited for this today.
Yay, me too.
It's an honor to be in your presence.
So,
You are in many of my playlists.
oh, that's really good to hear. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So obviously people know you probably predominantly for being Steps remixer and producer, but I want to go back a little bit. So growing up, was remixing and producing something you always wanted to do, or did it come on later on in life for you?
It was later on in life. So when I was younger, it was all about singing. I did a little bit of songwriting, like when it came to my GCSEs and that kind of thing, but it was all singing.
Okay.
And before I got into production, I did like cabaret circuits, on like holiday parks, that kind of thing. And I was also in a couple of bands. So I was
Okay.
in a boy girl group called Wired for Sound.
Yeah.
Um, that ended very quickly because we went on the first season of The X Factor
Oh wow.
and it did not go well. It was bad. But there we go. We live and learn. And then I was in a boy band called Billiam.
Okay.
That was very short-lived, sadly, because it was more of a dance boy band.
Yeah.
I was hoping it'd be a little bit more, I don't know, Westlifey, but it transpired when we recorded a few demos
Mm.
that it was a lot more dancey. And after doing a schools tour, we decided it was probably best if I scooted to one side and let them crack on by themselves. And then, yeah, after that, I took a bit of a hiatus and then got into producing.
Nice. I'm interested to hear more about Billiam. Did you record any songs with him while you was in the group?
Yeah, we did three tracks. The main one was called Simple Pop, if I remember right. And yeah, we used those songs just so we could go and tour the schools just to kind of
Mm.
get a feel for, what people of that kind of demographic thought.
Okay.
And yeah, every gig we did, basically our manager would record it,
Yeah.
a little VHS camera, and we'd take it back to the house and watch it. And after a fair bit of discussion, we just decided that it was just best that I'd leave because I just wasn't a very good dancer.
Oh, I'm sure he wasn't that bad.
Um, there's probably worse dancers, but I just wasn't natural. I could just about get through choreography, but when it came to like just natural dance, I
Mm.
just looked really awkward on stage. So it's just one of those things. It wasn't meant to be. Good memories though.
Yeah. So you mentioned later on in life you got into remixing and producing. Was there sort of any influences growing up when you was doing it, or is it are they like the same influences now, or has it changed slightly?
I guess so. I mean, in terms of influence, I'll visit every remix in a different way.
Hmm.
So I'll normally see who else has worked on the track. Like if there's multiple remixes,
Yeah.
I'll see who else is working on it, just so we don't more or less end up doing the same thing. And honestly, I'll visit like Spotify playlists and
Hmm.
I'll just see what's hot at the moment because you kind of want to develop a remix that's going to work on the dance floor,
Yeah.
especially if the management or the band said, well, look, we're putting this into the clubs, so we need it to be, kind of four on the
Yeah.
floor, as it were. So yeah, I'll visit a remix, differently every time, dependent on, I suppose, what its use is for.
Yeah. What's your sort of process when you're remixing? Do you work around the vote? Do you listen to the vocals on their own first to get a feel for them? And do you like have any ideas spark in your head?
Yeah, kind of. So I'll normally listen to the radio edit just once. I don't like to do it any more than that because otherwise you just kind of get too used to what the original sounds like.
Yeah.
Then once I've done that, I'll put all the vocal stems into the DAW that I use, Logic Pro,
Okay.
and I'll just listen to the vocals a few times, and then I'll start playing chords with them Because what I like to try and do, where possible, as long as it's not detrimental, is try and change the chord sequence, just so the
Okay, yeah,
remix adds like a different taste and flavor to the
yeah.
track rather than just copying what's already there.
Mm,
And once I've got a decent progression down, then I'll add some drums in, some bass, a few synths, and go from there.
nice. So, of course, we have to talk about steps, the icons and legends themselves.
Yes,
How
I
did
all
how
of
did
it.
that collab come about? Were you a fan previously before working with them, or?
A huge fan. So ever since Last Thing on My Mind, I've been a huge fan. I've always loved them. So honestly, I never thought I'd get the chance to work with them. So 12-year-old Gareth was very happy to be working with them.
Oh,
And it kind of happened by accident. So you may have heard of the Facebook group. They had a website as well. Yeah, they've still got a website,
hmm.
Ultimate Steps.
Oh yeah.
They got in touch because I know Matt personally, and I told them in the past that I'd done a remix for
Hmm.
one of their songs called Happy.
That track.
I know, awesome. That the vocals in that track are awesome. The ad libs. Anyway,
Yes.
I digress. Basically, they just asked if it was possible they could use that remix because it wasn't being released commercially,
Hmm.
just as like an exclusive for their website.
Okay.
So I said, well, that sounds great to me, but I'll have to check with the management. It's not for me to call it. So I did speak to the management, and he very kindly responded and said, look, I'm really sorry, you can't use it for that purpose. That
No.
said, where did this remix come from? Never heard it, and I absolutely adore it.
I love that.
And, I explained the circumstance,
Hmm.
and he said, well, look, if any other projects come up, would you be up for giving it a go? And I was like, of course, yeah, it's the dream.
I love that.
And it just went from there, and it really, truly has been a dream. I
Yeah.
never expected
Oh,
it to happen. So it feels like I won the lottery.
I can imagine it feels like that because your work with them. I think if I remember correctly, it was Claire's solo stuff you worked on first.
Yes, so I worked on the Wildest Dreams stuff first, and the first track I did was Shame on You, which,
Another good track.
if I remember right, the remix that I did, it didn't go out commercially. It only went
Okay.
out to DJs,
Yeah.
and then it was These Wings and 7 Billion that I did, which
That
is
that one I could hear on Canal Street. I was playing it. I was when you sent me the playlist the other day. I've heard the remix before, but sort of in the background
yeah.
when playing it. But really listening to it, I was like, I can see myself dancing this on Canal Street. And I was on FaceTime to my best friend, and she was bopping her head, and she was like, "Normally, I don't usually like these kind of remixes, but this is really good."
Yeah, it goes quite hard. I remember reading on the Pop Justice webs forum, someone said, "Gosh, this is pop as a clock, isn't it?"
Not heard that before, but yeah, it's very it certainly wanted me to get out, get start getting ready to go out clubbing. That's
it,
what you meant.
it's a proper trance track, that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really love that song, and it will always have a very special place in my heart because that was our first dance when I got married to my beautiful
Oh,
husband.
I love that. That it's she sings it so good live as well. I think when she was at Hyde Park supporting Celine Dion, she did that track, and I was up there dancing, and I just saw like the crowd just sat there like, "What are you doing?" It's Claire from Steps bloody singing. Come on. Um,
Exactly.
she
Gosh.
did. Oh, she did 7 billion. And I think she did one for Sorrow and Deep Shade of Blue, but it was the versions that she's done before.
Yeah, the
But the
acoustic
slow
one.
ones, yeah, which I quite liked. I think she did Gloria as well, if I remember rightly.
So we had a little exclusive
Yeah,
before it ended up on Euphoria.
yeah, but I remember there were a load of people like looking at this podium, and I was like, why are they looking at there? It turns out Lee and H was there watching her,
Oh wow!
and
Oh,
I was just like, what?
you know what? That's so nice that they went to support her. That's
Yeah,
really nice.
but going back to Steps, I think one mix, well, a couple of mixes that stand out to me. One is the Conway remix of Clouds, and reminds me a lot of Everything But the Girl, Missing.
I see. I didn't use that as a reference,
Yeah.
but I can see where you get that from. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's the percussion that you've used.
Yeah.
That remix it is very much reminiscent of that. I also like the Under My Skin remix that you did as well. One thing I like about your remixes, sometimes they're not too dissimilar from the original.
Yeah, I mean, it depends again on the use of the track.
Mm,
So if it's going to the clubs, I'll make it all dancey,
yeah,
that kind of thing. But if it's a track that's ultimately going to end up on like, a deluxe version of the album or
yeah,
that kind of thing, then I'll try and keep a little bit more true to the track and I'll
yeah,
put in a few stems from the original. So you've got those flourishes from the original track,
yeah.
so a different production on top.
I think one thing I like about the Under My Skin one though, I like that song anyway. I still say that should have been a single. Like that's
It was gorgeous.
it's a very popular phrase that I use quite a lot when I like album tracks. I'm like, oh, that should have been a single. That should have been a single. I do that a lot with One Step Song, and I really hope you make a remix of it one day. Since you took your love away from Spectacular,
Oh, that's a beautiful ballad
that
from
is one of my favorite tracks
Faye.
ever from Steps.
Yeah, Faye did a gorgeous job on that.
I'd love to hear like maybe kind of an 80s synth remix to it, maybe.
Okay.
I think that'd work quite well. Maybe for like a 30th anniversary. But again, I go off on a tangent like you. Um, so yeah, going back to the Under My Skin remix, it reminded me back to I think it was the I don't remember what who produced it, but it was a remix of I Know Him So Well.
Oh, Almighty did the remix
Yeah,
of
and that
so.
thank you. And I remember seeing an interview with them, and they said they had to go in and re-record it, but they had to sing it really fast. And the way you've done Under My Skin, it reminded me of that. So I was thinking, have they had to re-record it really fast?
No, if I remember right, at one point we almost didn't use it
Okay,
because the vocal was so fast.
yeah,
I ended up actually dropping it down a few BPM
hmm.
because it was just messing up the vocal too much, and
Oh,
we found it to a happy medium. So
yeah,
luckily we were able to still use it. But yeah, that was a concern at the time.
yeah,
And no, we didn't re-record the vocals of that. I think what Almighty did, they recorded the track at around 110 BPM. So
hmm.
that was still fast, obviously, for the song, but then
Yeah.
they sped it up afterwards as well, just so
Ah,
they could
okay,
get a
yeah,
couple of beats on it. But I think they did a really tidy job on that.
yeah, yeah. It was quite funny watching it back and thinking they had to stand in the booth going, "Wasn't it good? Was it?"
Yeah, it'd be interesting to sing that one live, I think.
Yeah. Another one of your remixes that, and I want to campaign this as a song on tour is your remix of Better Best Forgotten.
Oh,
That
well, thank you.
intro, oh, that I love that intro. So I don't know what it is about tracks where they have sort of like just the melody playing first and then gradually builds up. Just something I love about it, and the way you've done it with Better Best Forgotten, and the way Faye just sings that opening line. It's I get chills when I hear it because I can just see him on stage performing it.
Oh, how gorgeous would that be? And honestly, I'd be so honored if anything like that ever happened. I mean, I took the decision to actually do that with that song because I listened to the other remixes that had already been done. I bet
Mm,
best forgotten back in the day, and I just felt, well, that's never been done, so it's something
yeah,
new I can bring to the table. And because the lyrics, although it's quite a happy sounding song, because it's actually quite a sad song, I
I
just
know
thought,
where you're going with this.
how can we kind of make it a little bit more ethereal and I suppose a little bit more emotional just to kind of pull the
Yeah,
lyrics out of the song? So yeah, I'm really glad you like it.
I'd love to hear like it's like an ambient mix. So one example is the Saturdays My Heart Takes Over.
Okay, yeah.
They had an ambient mix where it was just the music. There was no percussion or anything with it.
I see. So the original stems, but with no
Yeah.
drums.
So
Interesting.
I'd like to hear like an ambient mix of Better Best Forgotten with that ethereal intro that you did.
Okay. Well, never say never. I mean, we did get that kind of ballady version on the I think it steps into was it steps into Christmas
Yeah,
or
it was the no, it was the
Christmas with
yeah,
steps,
that was it.
that one.
Yeah,
So yeah, we kind of got a little teaser from it, didn't we?
yeah,
But yeah, it definitely works nicely as a ballad as well. So maybe like a kind of ethereal acoustic version one day. That might
yeah.
be nice.
That would have slotted well in with the Leeds Beckett gig, the intimate gig that they did,
Yes, it
and
could have
which
done.
I believe one of your mixes was used. It was last thing on my mind. It was like an acoustic mix.
It did, yeah.
That was very what's the song? Well, I initially thought when it started, I thought they was going to cover "Here Comes the Sun."
Oh, yes, I totally get what you mean. Yeah, with the picked guitar.
Yeah, and then when Face started, I was like, "Oh, what?" It
Oh,
was unexpected, but in a good way. Like as well as "Scared of the Dark" as well. That was really good when they did it acoustically. And the, I don't know if it was a power cut. Something happened where all the fans had the torches on the phone,
yeah.
and then the stage lights just went off, and the phone torch lights were reflecting the group as they were singing,
Oh, wow.
and it was really atmospheric how they did it. And I was
Oh,
just like, I don't know if they've intentionally turned the stage lights off for this, but it worked. Like there was something
yeah.
so like I say, intimate about it with just us in
Oh,
that small area.
oh, you were so lucky to be at that gig. I'm very envious, I must say.
Well, initially it got cancelled because of COVID,
Oh, crikey.
because Faye had COVID during the tour,
Yes.
and it was meant to be 2021. They were meant to do it, and in the midst of the Future Holds tour, which by the way, very lucky I went to the opening night because if I went to any further dates, I would have been disappointed with Faye not being there.
Yeah, the gig I went to at the O2, that didn't have Faye, and I was gutted. That said, H and Lisa did such a good job of
Yeah,
filling in the gaps, as it were. Faye was absolutely missed, but yeah, they did a really, really good job.
yeah,
And that's the thing, they can all sing live. They're a manufactured pop band, but they are very
yeah,
talented people and they can do it live. And I think the acoustic set, especially that you went to
yeah.
see, really highlighted how good they are vocally.
I was obviously we all know they can sing, but to me, Lisa shone like the brightest when seeing the intimate gig because we all know they can sing, but I feel like, and I'm probably the same when it comes to singing, I get really nervous,
Yeah,
and you can hear it in her voice, but she still sings well. Like, I
yeah.
think they all get nervous to a point where, well, I think it's normal to be nervous.
Yeah, if you don't get nervous, especially like at a big gig,
Yeah,
it suggests you don't care anymore. So
yeah.
I think it's nice when you do see a little bit of nervousness.
But
It
yeah,
just shows that they care.
it was quite, it wasn't weird, but it was very unusual seeing him in that intimate setting as opposed to seeing him in an arena. Because I was very close to the stage when they did the first show, and then they did a platinum collection show, like celebrating that greatest hits. And obviously, on that, I think it was on that day, they found out they were number one on the charts with that
Oh,
album.
amazing.
So they had like a massive selfie with all of us, and they were doing like the number one pose. So that was really cool. Not to make you envious again.
No, it's so good. I mean, after 25 years, they got to number one
Yeah,
again with another greatest hits. They've done so well, and honestly, they deserve every success.
yeah, they do. So, again with remixing, one question I want to ask you: if you could pick any song, either current or in the past, that you wanted to do a remix on, what would you choose? I'm very curious.
Ooh, that's a really, really tricky question. There's loads. Um, I would love to work on a Kylie track. I
Okay,
like Kylie Minogue,
yeah.
particularly if they ever revisited some of her older material. I'd love to work on some of the Light Years songs.
Okay, yeah.
In particular, I love Disco Down.
Yeah.
I'd love to make like a really big like disco remix of that. What else?
I feel like Please
Now
Stay would be
Goodbye.
good.
Sorry?
Please Stay would be a good remix.
Yes. That's a brilliant
Yeah.
song. It's one of my favorites.
Which one did you say? Sorry, by the way.
What's it what's it called? So Now Goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's a pop bop, that is.
Yeah. I think another one that would be good was On a Night Like This.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love that song as well. I mean, that song's already been remixed, I think, two or three times. But yeah, it'd be cool to revisit it with, I suppose, more of a modern tinge to it.
yeah. I could see again with what I said about Since You Took Your Love Away, like an 80s synth mix maybe of On a
Yeah,
Night Like
that could work.
This.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd love to work on Carly's material. Who else? Pink would be amazing.
Yeah.
Celine Dion, that would be a dream. I'd love to get hold of the vocal stems from Celine Dion. She's one of the best singers in the world. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Sorry, Steps. We love you, Steps, don't worry.
Of course we do.
So as well as Steps, you've worked with the likes of Sophie Alex Baxter, Will Young, Tight Fit, just to name a few. Um, how did that happen?
All the other ones. So normally it's a case of like their management just getting in touch and saying, "Hey, I've seen what you've done with person X. Would you be
Okay.
able to do the same with our act?"
Yeah,
And yeah, I've been really lucky to work with some really big artists, but it's not only the bigger artists as it is. I really like working with independent artists.
yeah,
So we've got Robert O'Connor. I did a album with him over the last year or so. That's really cool. And also Lavoie,
yes,
who's actually on Strictly Come Dancing,
I know.
rehearsing as we speak. I've really enjoyed working with Lavoie. So it's not all about the, I suppose, like the really well-known celebrities.
Yeah,
I like working with everyone because everyone brings something different to the table, you
yeah.
know?
I think um when you sent me the playlist that you've done, the song Hitchcock Blonde by Lavar, I love that. Oh my God.
It's a
That's so good.
catchy song, but it's a little earworm. So I co-wrote that with,
Yeah, I was going to mention about you because I've looked on the song credits of some of them and you've actually co-wrote with people as well, which is incredible.
yeah, so most of the songs that I co-wrote with, so co-write with a guy called Tony Webb or T Webb. He
Okay.
just put out an album himself, so that's worth checking
Oh,
out.
nice.
Really, really good. But he's like a phenomenal top liner. So
Okay.
he's really good at writing lyrics and melody, and he also helps out on production as well. He's got a really
Oh,
good ear.
nice.
So yeah, he's great to work with, and all of the songs that we've done for Lavoie we've co-written, which is
Nice.
nice. So it's kind of gone from remixing now to
Yeah.
actually writing and producing fresh songs, which is, I suppose, ultimately what I always wanted. And I think that's what a lot of producers do. They to try and get into the industry and get in front of the right people, they
Yeah.
start by remixing so people can see that, okay, they
Yeah.
can produce, what else can they do? And you move forwards from there because you start making your contacts.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask you, when you put out these remixes, do you get any like listeners like message you personally, like
Yeah,
saying, "Oh, this is really good," and I assume you do on Instagram and stuff like that.
yeah, for sure. I get like a fair few people getting in touch, and I also see like on forums, feedback on there. And
Yeah.
I think the thing that I've learned over the years is that you can't please everyone. There's
Yeah.
going to be people that love your remixes. There's going to be people that absolutely hate them.
Yeah.
You know what, with social media and that nowadays, there's no hiding.
No,
People like to put their opinion out there.
they do.
And and that's okay. I've learned to deal with it. When I
Yeah.
first started out, sometimes I'd really take it to heart, and it
Yeah.
really made me feel sad. But it's just one of those things you just kind of have to learn to get on with it. And also, sometimes it's worth just listening to critique. I mean,
Yeah.
the difference is if someone turns around and goes, "I hate it, rah, rah, rah," well, you can't really learn anything from that.
No, you
But
can't.
occasionally, you'll read something and you'll think, "Oh, actually, you know what? They've got a point. Next time I do a remix, I'm
Yeah.
going to bear that in mind." So I think it's always worth not shying away from what can be perceived as a negative comment because sometimes
Yeah.
you can learn something.
Of course, you're gonna first take it to heart because it's something you've put a lot of passion into and
Yeah,
thought and
you basically
creativity.
you basically lay your heart out for the world
Yeah,
to see. So when someone says, "No, I don't like that," of course, firstly you're going to
yeah,
think, "Oh, that's not very nice." But as I say, if you can look past that, if it's constructive, sometimes you can
exactly.
learn something. Sometimes it's just a case that they
Yeah.
just don't like it.
One thing that I want to say this to you, I've said to my friend who she's an independent artist as well, and um, she does like sort of like 80s synthwave music,
Okay, yeah,
very reminiscent of like Cyndi Lauper and Madonna and that kind of thing.
yeah.
And she recently was on about I joined her live on Instagram, and she recently released a new single. And she was saying like she was very nervous about putting it out because it was very personal. And I said to her, the people that love you and stick by you and support you are the ones that matter.
Yeah,
The ones that are negative, pay them no mind. Like
absolutely.
they're just being bitter for the sake of it. They're keyboard warriors. That's what I say.
Yeah, sometimes, and sometimes it is just a case of, people, being envious of the position that someone's in. So
Yeah,
they just want to be negative. So, as Taylor Swift says, let's let haters be haters.
exactly. Well, I for one love your remixes.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say.
Is there, so I want to go back to steps a little bit. Is there any step songs out there that you want to do a remix for that hasn't been remixed?
Oh gosh, all of them. If I could, I would. It's dependent on if we can find the stems. So like that, obviously they've done a lot of songs now over the years.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the labels have to go into their archives to actually find the stems. So whether or
Okay.
not they find them, especially like album tracks and that kind of thing, that's another thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd remix any step song to be honest.
I think you shared one on your story not long ago. It was Love's Got a Hold of My Heart that you did.
Oh gosh, that was years ago. So I did that like most producers will start out by doing bootleg productions
Yeah.
just so they can kind of show people what they can do before they actually get their foot in the door.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was one of the first proper remixes that I put together. So hearing it now, I'm just like, oh gosh, that sounds rough in parts. But yeah, it's nice to kind of hear where it all kind of
Yeah.
started. But yeah, gosh, that was years ago. Where did you find that?
You posted it on a story not long ago. I think it was like maybe a couple of years ago now.
Oh, I did. Yes, I remember. Yeah, I found it on an old hard drive, didn't I?
Yeah, and I remember messaging you going, "Oh my God, this is incredible! Really, can you put it on Spotify or SoundCloud?"
Oh, oh. If I could, I would, but no, I wouldn't be able to. And if I remember right, I didn't have the actual vocal stems for that track.
Okay.
What I
Yeah.
did, I used a process called phasing. So that's when you get the radio edit and you get the instrumental,
Hmm.
you put them side by side and you change the polarity. So basically, it cancels out
Okay.
anything on the instrumental and it leaves you with the just the voice.
Hmm.
It doesn't always work very well though. So we wouldn't have been able to use it like for a proper release because you'd be able to hear the backing track of the original track. That's the main reason why we would never use it. But you never know. Maybe I'll get the opportunity one day to do a proper remix of Love's Got a Hold of My Heart because I would love that. I love that song.
I think if you got chosen to do that, I'd want to see you do what you did with Better Best Forgotten.
And start off with it like with a cold start.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just trying to think how that would work.
So obviously
Wouldn't
it'd
it?
start
But
with Faye again.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe so right, in an ideal world, pitching this to you.
Go on.
So maybe have her start off a cappella for the first
Yeah,
little part and then slowly have the music like the melody creep in a little bit.
that could work. That could
And
work.
then when it gets to the actual chorus, I could hear like a sort of, oh, what do they call it? So it's not the full percussion, but like a start of like an extended remix, like the part. So that could be like kind of starting
Yeah, just
the
start with a
part.
kick
Yeah,
and gradually build
yeah.
it up.
Thank you.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean that could be really cool, but I mean the one big thing you missed there would have to have like really big stereo delay effects with Lisa's SOS.
Yes, there's no escape. Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I
love how she plays up to that on the concerts, though.
Me too. Me too. She's great. I love Lisa.
Speaking of Lisa, sorry to go off on a tangent, but one thing I miss about Lisa on the concerts, she'd always do the aha kind of noise
Aha.
when they were singing or in between, like, yeah.
Aha.
No, no, I think was it the other day? I had one of the songs on, um, just playing it, and where she does it, I did it on the studio version. It's just like muscle memory doing it, or the when H does the ooh ooh that kind of thing. I do that as well when they do. It's the remix of "Love's Got a Hold of My Heart." It's the one that they did on the Next Step tour,
Yeah,
which like that's very different from the original, which I love.
yeah.
But it's the I can't remember which bit it is, but it's just a bit of music, and I'm doing the bit what H does on the crowd.
I know the bit you mean, the like the instrumental bit, the middle A.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a really good remix actually. That's probably my favorite work in progress remix that they did.
yeah. It was. I think it was called Off the Wall
Yeah,
remix, WIP remix. The hyphen the work in progress, don't they?
yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that was a really, really good remix, that was. And Summer of Love, they also did a really good remix.
Yes. Yeah. It's got like that doom 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 doom
Yeah.
doom. Yeah, I like that one. One thing I like Deep Shade of Blue as well. That was a really good remix. But I also love the Sleaze Sisters remix as well.
Yeah, that was always my go-to. I loved the Slee Sisters remixes.
I can remember fangirling over Pete Martin
Yeah.
over that when I performed at Derby Pride one year and he was co-hosting, and then one of the organizers told me it's. I was like, "Oh, who is P. Martin?" And he was like, "Oh, he's a guy from Sleaze Sisters." I was like, "What? Sleaze Sisters? Like Steps?" I was just like,
Yeah.
"I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to tell you, I am obsessed with your Deep Shade of Blue remix, Sleaze Sisters." Oh, thank you so much. Like that's really kind of you.
Oh,
Like
that's
that's childhood right there. Just hearing that on the tour.
absolutely, yeah. I wish they'd have done more remixes. They'd have done a banging job of Love's Got a Hold of My Heart, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think they did one. I don't know if it was released commercially, but it was essentially out there. Um, they did one in 2012, one for Sorrow. I think
Yes,
it's like
I
Sleaze
heard that.
Sisters versus Steps, or it was something titled like that.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. Yeah.
But I remember a lot of fans comparing it to "We Found Love" by Rihanna.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose what they did was just try and emulate what was going on at the time. So it
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. So, Gareth, my last question to you today.
Yeah.
So, looking back at your career so far, has there been a real pinch me moment when you thought, wow, this is actually happening?
I guess honestly, it's when I started working with steps because I just never thought I would,
Yeah,
just listening to Step One back when I was 13 years old, I was literally obsessed with that album. And I suppose going through school, I always dreamed that I'd be able to do something like that.
yeah,
But dreaming is one thing, actually doing it is very different. And
yeah,
how it all just kind of came together, I suppose, by accident, that was a real pinch me moment. And I suppose to date, the real pinch me moment was when I found out that they'd actually used the acoustic version of Last Thing on My Mind on the tour. It
okay,
it was always a dream to have something that I produced sung by them live, and yeah,
yeah.
it's so nice to see it on YouTube. It was amazing.
Oh. Oh, I love that.
It was awesome.
Did you sort of did you have like an out of body experience when you realized that it was your mix that they were singing?
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far, but I was so happy. Like I saw the track list, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I mean, they did get in touch before. Well, their management got in touch and did say, well,
Yeah.
do you mind if we use this for this particular set? And I was like, of course, go for it. Yes, it's yours. Take it. I was overjoyed. So yeah, that'd be really, really nice. I think in future, because that's kind of been ticked off, the
Hmm.
real dream is for Steps to actually record one of the songs that we've co-written.
Okay.
So we've written a lot that, where we've had Steps in mind.
Yeah.
So hopefully if they do another album in the future, we'll get a cut on their album. That'd be great.
Well, I think it's 2027 is marks 30 years of Steps.
It sure does.
So, and from what has been said by the group, I think plans are being put into motion as we speak.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Hopefully something, maybe new music, or I'd love like I don't know if anyone else has thought of this, probably just me, but I'd love like a CD, like a box set, and a one CD be full of like Steve Anderson mixes from the tours.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, I mean they could easily do a double CD,
Yeah,
all of those mixes. Yeah,
like
I love.
maybe a greatest hits like CD, but with them versions instead of the originals,
Yeah,
or like revisited versions. So like one song, like the solos that they did on the Steptacular tour and the Next Step tour.
yeah,
I'd love to hear them in studio versions because I know that we're going to have a party.
yeah.
If I remember rightly, was going to be on Steptacular, but I don't think
Was it? I didn't know that. I mean, the songs, one way or another, they must exist
yeah.
because they actually went on. I mean, that particular song, was it done by the Tweenies?
Yes.
Right. So they must have heard the original that Lee had done in the studio to
Yeah.
be able to replicate it. So they must exist somewhere.
Yeah.
They'll be buried either on an old hard drive or on an old CD or right at the back of Sony Records.
I mean, we did get Never Get Over You from the Live at Wembley concert.
Yes, yes.
I
I
thought it was really
remember
cool.
talking to their manager about that, and I was like, I'm so overwhelmed with joy that we finally got the studio version of that song. I really like that version.
I think another studio version I'd love to hear is Our Dancing that faded.
Yes, yes, that's
Uh,
one of my
oh,
favorite tour tracks. That's really good. I mean, we were quite lucky that the actual version that went out on VHS was quite close to what the studio version would have been
yeah.
anyway, I think. But yeah, that'd be really cool. I really liked the remix that faded of If You Believe as well on the Gold
I
Tour.
don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that because I love the original so much, and I feel like the original is quite emotional.
Oh, it's gorgeous, don't get me wrong. But I liked the different, twinge on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a R&B sort of hip hop
Yeah,
twinge to it,
yeah.
and I was just like, oh, okay, like
You could tell that kind of sound was a bit of her at the time, for
yeah.
sure. She really enjoyed performing it, and that's what it's all about.
We finally got the Simon Hill mix of Heartbeat as well, which a
Yes.
lot of fans were dying to have studio quality of because that is just it's one of those songs that to me it shouldn't work as a pop song, like a upbeat song, but it does.
Oh, I agree with you. Yeah, I remember hearing that for the first time on CD UK on Saturday morning.
Yes, I
Like,
remember.
oh wow, this is amazing. Yeah, it was really good, and you're right, it shouldn't work as a remix
No,
really, but it does.
yeah,
I suppose the only kind of classic step song that hasn't been remixed is When I Said Goodbye.
I think
Steve did a beautiful like ballad version for the
yeah,
tour, but there's never been, to my knowledge, a dance mix. There was a rumor at the time that Work in Progress did one, and it got
yeah.
shelved. How true that is, I don't know.
That's what I yeah I read about that as well. That I think, oh, what was the? It was meant to be on the double A side single with Summer of Love, I think, that remix.
Ah, okay, interesting.
So I don't know how it would have sounded, but I should imagine with their sort of signature sound, it would have sounded quite cool with it being
Yeah.
work in progress.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, maybe it was just a case of they sped the vocals up too much, and on reflection, they're like, it
Yeah.
doesn't work, we don't like it, and it just got shelved. It happens.
Yeah, that's really weird that that's not been remixed and it was a single as well at that.
Well, let's see what the future holds, I guess.
Uh, nice pun. Oh, that tour version is gorgeous. Like thinking about what the future holds, that just that intro alone,
Yeah,
there's ad libs coming through and echoey.
they're really beautiful, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, I love that song anyway. I love the studio version, but yeah, the live extended mix was great. Steve can do no wrong.
No, you can't. Well, Gareth, thank you so much for joining me today on the Jake Whitworth Show. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you today.
My absolute pleasure.
I've loved it so much. It's been really nice to have like an insight sort of behind the scenes of how you work.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for asking me.
So, guys, if you want to follow Gareth on socials, I will put them all down below in the description. And yeah, thank you again, Gareth, for joining me. And I'll see everyone on the next episode.
Yay. Catch you later.
Bye.